Weekly press conference with Stars head coach Russo ahead of a two-game weekend against the Omaha Lancers in the Sioux Falls Stampede. Rocky coming off of what is probably your guys' biggest weekend so far in this season, 2 wins against a really good Fargo team. You know, what's the mood like in that room coming into this weekend?
You know, we're focused on what we can control and spending the week trying to get better and harping on some details that we feel are important for our process and the way we're going to continue to move forward. You know, we're really excited about a couple wins last weekend against a very good club in Fargo, and now you turn your attention to 2 very good teams coming in this weekend. And so, you know, we don't take any games for granted, and we stay humble and hungry no matter the circumstance.
You know, more than anything, people are going to point at that 6-goal third period that you guys had in that Saturday game. But one of the main things that I kind of looked at in that game, you guys scored 2 power play goals, and they were big power play goals. You remember Youngers in the early goings of that game to cut the lead in half. Then you remember Jackson Rood in the third period as well. How big is it for you guys to get those, you know, big power play goals? Not just, you know, getting power play goals at points to bolster the stats when not necessarily they don't matter, but, you know, getting those, you know, high emotion power play goals for your units going forward.
The best teams are successful special teams teams, and we put ourselves in quite a hole with our special teams early on in the season, and that affects your confidence in those situations. And so our ability to dig in and make sure that we're executing in those high pressure situations is important for us as we continue to grow as a group. And you know, Younger getting his first goal of the year in such a big moment for us was a big step in the right direction for him and for our team.
Going forward as well, I don't want to, you know, look too far into things, but having a guy like Charles Menard and him having, you know, 2 games under his belt, his first USHL shutout on Friday, a guy in Will Prowse that has played the bulk of the games for you guys this season. How good is it for a guy who, in Menard, who, you know, just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago, for him to get these game experiences under his belt and for him to show how good of a goaltender he can be in this league?
I mean, Chuck was a junior hockey goalie in the North American Hockey League last year, which at his age, to be as successful as he was last year, shows you how talented he is. That's a hard league, especially for goalies, and he did a great job. His numbers were fantastic, and so he's confident. He's a competitor, and when you have 2 good goalies that you can put in the net, you can trust to give you an opportunity to win every night. That's the best thing a coach can ask for, and we've been blessed with that in the 5 years that I've been here. We've had great goaltenders, and this year's no exception.
Alex Pelletier wins the USHL Forward of the Week for the second time this season. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point right now, but just how much can you speak and how much can you praise him for the work that he's done this season for you guys?
You know, I'm happy that he's having the success he's having, and he's earned it. You know, nothing's been handed to Alex's entire hockey career. He's had to work for everything he's gotten, and so he appreciates the success that he's having. It's not going to his head. He's staying humble and grateful for the opportunities that he's receiving, and the recognition coming from the league is well deserved. And you know, there's a lot of other guys on this team that are doing great things, and his line mates are doing great things. Cade's playing really well. Loomer's obviously playing great, and so you know, Pelly's been the beneficiary of some great passes by those guys, and he's been doing some hard work as well. So I think when we get those guys recognized for their individual accomplishments, our guys realize that those are team wins. Whether it be, you know, individual awards that our team won last year, those are a recognition of good work done by everybody.
And then coming into this weekend against Omaha and Sioux Falls, of course, you know, you guys have played Omaha. You played both of these teams so far this season. We're getting to the point in the year where, you know, you may have seen the couple of teams that you're going to see in the future a couple of times coming into weekends like this. Of course, you saw Omaha just 2 weekends ago. You saw Sioux Falls, a home opener. Again, you can always point to that home opener and just those first 6 games of the season. Of course, you mentioned you're kind of starting from square one now with the 8-8, the 500 on the record. What is going to be preached from you guys kind of coming into this next final stretch, or not really final stretch, but this stretch where you guys from here on out, you guys are starting from, you know, that square one mentality?
Nothing's changing. You know, we put our work boots on a long time ago, and that's the mentality that we have as a coaching staff. That's the identity we want to create with our team. And you know, every weekend is a challenge because it's a great league. Every team we play is a great team. And we've been in the situation of being the team with the bullseye on their back. We've been in the situation of chasing that team, and so we're comfortable in either way. But right now we're working our way up the standings, and it's not a bad spot to be in, because you're hungry every night. Every point counts. Every win's important, and this weekend we're going to take it one game at a time.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Continuing our weekly press conference coverage here with Stars assistant captain Lane Loomer. Lane, a good weekend for you guys last weekend against the Fargo Force. A really good weekend for you and your line with, of course, you and Alex Pelletier collecting a big bulk of points. What has been working for you and Pelly so far this season that you guys have been able to see in that success?
I think we just both work really hard in that sense, and we didn't start the year playing together, but we obviously love playing together and kind of just doing a lot of things together where we have that chemistry. And I think just being able to play with a guy like that, it's just a lot of fun and really rewarding in the sense of just being out there every shift, knowing that you're doing something productive.
I remember you telling me earlier this season about how an apple is as good as a goal for you guys in terms of the score sheet. It's 2 points is the same. Tell me about kind of that mentality for you coming into this season.
Yeah, I think just honestly, just as long as we get the win, we're happy. So if you get an assist in that sense, or an apple, it's as good as a goal in that way.
What is kind of the difference for you guys, you feel, from starting out 0-6, now being 8-2 in your guys' last 10 games? What do you feel like was the switch for you guys, if there was a switch, or was it just you guys kind of sticking with the process like Coach Rocky mentions?
Yeah, I think definitely just sticking with the process, getting better every day, working on our systems a lot, and just over time, in that sense, started to click with the collective group, and now the results are starting to show that way.
This weekend, it's a big weekend. You got Omaha coming to town on Friday. Those games are always fun. And then, of course, the first place team in the Western Conference in the USHL in Sioux Falls on Saturday. What's the mood among the guys in the locker room coming into this weekend?
Yeah, it's obviously good. We're just taking it day by day, same as every other weekend, and excited to play 2 at home this weekend.
All right, Coach, All right, Lane. Thank you. Appreciate it.